Hi guys, thanks so much for watching and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to take you through a full home workout of mine, and I get to show you guys some of the exercise that I use in my home workouts. I'm going to be applying all of the exercise guidelines and considerations that we talked about in our last video. So if you didn't catch that one, you want to watch that one first by clicking up on the info icon in the corner. Over the past 6 weeks, I've been performing these home workouts, and I've really had the opportunity to experiment a lot with my exercises to learn which ones work best for me. And I've certainly come across my challenges, one of those challenges being learning to apply sufficient overload to the working muscles. And I'm sure you guys have found challenges in your own home workouts, so I want you to use the comment section below to let me know some of the challenges that you guys have come across. It's important for you guys to know that your home workout should be customized to you. As a personal trainer, I see far too many people that take other people's gym programs thinking that they're going to get the same or similar results, but that simply doesn't happen. This refers to the principle of individuality, which simply states that you're different to everybody else, so your exercise should really be customized according to you. I recently published an article on my website where I talk about the principle of individuality and how important this is when you're designing home workouts. And I've placed a link in the description box below if you guys want to give it a read. In that article I wrote, I highlight a great study that was done by Bamman that was published in 2007 in the Journal of Applied Physiology. In that study, they took 66 untrained adults and placed them in the same 16-week gym program. Subjects did 3 workouts a week and performed 3 sets in the leg press, leg extension, and squats, with each set taken close to failure. The authors looked at quadriceps growth and broke down results into 3 categories. They had high responders that represented 25% of subjects who achieved around 50% hypertrophy, moderate responders that made up 50% of subjects who achieved around 20% hypertrophy, and low responders representing 25% of subjects who experienced minimal to no hypertrophy. So despite the subjects being put through the same workout program, they all experienced significant differences in muscle growth. So the take-home message here is if you're going to use somebody else's workout program, use it like a template, even if it's a home workout. Ultimately, customize your workouts to you based on how you respond and how you're recovering. In this home workout, I'll be using resistance bands to provide that overload to the working muscles, but I'll also be flashing up bodyweight alternatives and progressions that you can use just in case you don't have resistance bands. The first exercise in this home workout is going to target the shoulders, and I use a single arm band resisted shoulder press. So if you remember what the shoulder does, it has 3 primary functions. It flexes, abducts, and extends the shoulder. And in this exercise, it is going to be abduction as I bring the arm overhead, but because the shoulder is in an externally rotated or outer rotated position, I'm specifically going to target the front part of the shoulder or the anterior deltoid. Because my elbow is straightening as I press upward, I'm also going to target the triceps. Okay, so you can see that I'm really focusing on trying to bring the intensity of effort to a high level, which just means that I want it to be hard at the end, and I'm stopping at the point where I could only have done 3, maybe 4 more. So we talked about that in the last video. That's really important for getting maximal muscle fiber recruitment. A couple tips that I can give you for this particular exercise is full range of movement is going to be just outside the shoulder and then pressing up overhead, so your arm ends up by your ear. And my other key point is focus on how fast you can move the band. So once you come out of this bottom position, try to put some speed and really drive through that tension as we press up overhead. Second exercise in this home workout is going to target the front of the legs, or the quadriceps muscle. So these muscles are primarily responsible for extending the knee or straightening the knee. One of the quadricep muscle also has a function of bending the hip. Because the hips and the ankles are going to be slightly bending and straightening in this exercise, we're also going to get some of the bum muscles, the glutes, back of the legs, the hamstrings, and the calf muscles involved as well. So this is probably one of the hardest split squat variations I've ever done. And if you've ever caught Katie Saunier on her Instagram, she does one of these with holding dumbbells, and she even says that's probably the hardest split squat variation she's done as well. A couple tips I can give for this exercise: when you're placing this on the back of the neck, if it's uncomfortable, you can always have a rolled up hand towel and place it over the band to make it a little bit more comfortable. When you're performing the exercise, to get the greatest range of movement, you want to think about bringing your back knee all the way down to the ground, or as close as you can get. You can see that gives me the most knee bend on the front working leg. Also, when I'm coming up, I'm thinking about pushing my foot into the floor and again driving through that resistance as I pop up. In my second group, the first exercise I'm going to use is to target the chest muscles. The chest has three primary functions. It flexes the shoulder, horizontally adducts, and internally rotates at the shoulder. So when we're performing a press up and we press away from the floor, the chest is adducting to activate. Also, the triceps are going to be involved. As we press, we're also extending at the elbow. Okay, a couple of tips for performing the press up. First one is try to maintain a neutral posture when you're going down and up. So I see a lot of times when people do press ups, their bums up high or their hips are dropping. Try to maintain that nice straight column as you lower and you press yourself back up. Second point is think about pressing away from the floor as you press up. So get right down towards the floor for full range, and then think about pressing away from the floor on the way up. After the press up, I'm going to use an exercise to target my glutes and my hamstrings. And I'm going to use a band resisted hip hinge. So the glutes have three primary functions. They extend or they push the hip forward, they outer rotate or externally rotate the hip, and they also pull the pelvis backward or posteriorly pelvic tilt. And the hamstrings have two primary functions. They bend the knee and they also work with the glutes to extend the hip. A couple tips I can give for this exercise. The first one is think about bending from the hips. So when I was lowering myself down, I wasn't bending from my back, I was hinging my hips. Think about pushing your bum to the back wall. Second tip is when you come up and you're pushing your hips into the band resistance, think about squeezing your bum muscles as hard as you can. Okay, the third exercise that I'm going to use to finish off this second group is going to be to target the back muscles, and I'm going to use an inverted row. The back, or latissimus dorsi, has three primary functions. It extends the shoulder, adducts, and it internally rotates. So as I'm pulling myself up, I'm going to be extending the shoulder backwards, activating latissimus dorsi. I'm also going to be pulling through my shoulder blades, squeezing them together, activating rhomboids and middle traps, which are responsible for scapular retraction. And as I pull myself up, I'm going to be bending my elbow, so biceps brachii is also going to be involved in this. I love this exercise. I got it from celebrity trainer Ben Bruno, who uses it in his home workouts. It's super simple to put together. All you need are 2 chairs, and you can use a broomstick or a pipe or a body pump bar. Really easy to adapt to home workouts. Okay, so I could have only done another 1 or 2 more there. Couple useful tips for this exercise. It is a row, and for row movements I typically give the coaching point to focus on squeezing the shoulder blades. So as I come up, I'm really trying to squeeze those muscles in between my shoulder blades, pulling them together. Second good coaching point is you want to keep yourself in a neutral posture. Here it's a little bit more advanced. My legs are straight out so I don't get as much help as from the lower body, but I'm just trying to make sure that my hips don't drop down. They stay up in line with my torso and my shoulders. And to do that, I'm actually squeezing my bum muscles to help lock my hips into place. In the final group of this home workout, I'm going to be targeting some arm and abdominal work. And the first exercise is used to target the front of the arms, or biceps brachii. As the name implies, biceps means 2 heads, and we've got a short head that runs on the inner part of the front of the arm and a long head that runs on the outer part of the front of the arm. Biceps brachii has 3 primary functions. It bends or flexes the elbow, it turns the palm facing up so it supinates the hand, and because long head crosses at the shoulder, it also flexes the shoulder. We know when we bring the shoulder back behind us in an extended position, we can target more of the long head. So in this variation, I'm going to be using to target long head of the biceps. Okay, so maybe another couple more on that set. A couple tips I can give you for this exercise is that first you'll notice that I've anchored the bands behind me underneath the sofa. In the previous video I showed you a version where the bands were anchored underneath the feet, and that's still a really useful exercise, but what you'll notice with that variation is that you lose tension. There's not really any tension at the bottom of the range. So by anchoring the bands behind you in the full stretch position, you're going to feel tension on the front of the arms. So you get a little bit more tension in the bottom range. So it's a nice variation to use. Another tip I can give you is that I'm really focusing on the front of the arms. This is called a single joint movement. It's only the elbow that's bending and straightening. And when I come up, I'm going to really focus on the front of the arms and the squeeze in my biceps here. The second exercise I'm going to use in this group is to target the back of the arms, or triceps. Triceps has 3 heads. It has a long head that runs along the back of the arm and medial and lateral head that run along the side of the arm. Triceps has 2 primary functions. It straightens or it extends at the elbow, and because long head crosses over the shoulder joint, it's also responsible for extending the shoulder, bringing the shoulder back behind the body. We know that when you bring the shoulder up into a flex position, you can target more of the long head. So in this banded version, I'm going to be targeting long head of the triceps. Okay, so a couple tips for this exercise is that when you bring your shoulders up into that flex position, try to keep them in position. Try not to let them drop down, because as soon as you start letting them drop down, you're going to start recruiting other muscle groups like the back, which is what you don't want. Another great tip is focus on the arms here. So again, just like we did with the arm curl, and you focus on the bicep, in this exercise you're going to focus on the tricep. So really focus on that tricep as you straighten the elbows. You can really feel the squeeze in the back of the arm. You can see from this home workout that I keep it pretty simple. I've selected 8 exercises, primarily multi-joint exercises, and I've spread those across 3 groups. Because I work out multiple times a week, I don't have to worry about putting all my exercises into one workout. I can spread those exercises across my workouts throughout the week. The repetitions that I perform are quite variable. Sometimes I'll be doing 15 to 20 reps, other times 25 to 30 repetitions. The most important thing is that I keep my intensity effort high and make those sets challenging. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and most importantly, I hope you can take something away that then you can apply to your own home workouts. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.